Last week in the URC, all four South African teams won their games, making it a clean sweep. But can they do it again this week? In this video, I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview of each game and my prediction for each game. As always, make sure you've hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and make sure to leave your predictions down in the comments. First up, and probably the most worrisome game of the four taking place this weekend, is first versus second. Leinster taking on the Bulls. Bulls obviously playing away from home in Dublin. What makes this game even bigger is that both sides are in absolutely great form. Leinster have won their last 5 games in a row. The Bulls have won their last 6 in a row. Also adding to this is the history behind this fixture. In their past 2 encounters, the most recent one, the Bulls actually beat them 62-7 at home, and then a couple of years ago in the 2021-22 season, they actually played in the semi-final out in Dublin, and the Bulls managed to pick up a historic 27-26 win away from home in Dublin. At that time, the Bulls were given about a 7-1 chance of winning, and the odds are basically the same for the Bulls to do it again. Now, if the Bulls end up winning without a bonus point, they'll move into first on points different, but same points as Leinster. If they end up winning it with a bonus point, then they move into first outright. Now, before the lineups came out about 30 minutes ago, I was wondering if Jake White was going to rest a couple of players for the Champions Cup game next weekend against Lyon. The answer is absolutely not. Jake White wants to go over there to Dublin and beat Leinster. He's named a fully fit side. It's going to be a very, very interesting clash, and while Leinster are massive favourites at home with the rugby they've been playing, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. Do I think the Bulls can beat Leinster? I didn't think they could do it in the semi-final a couple of years ago. I'm not too sure if they can do it now. Leinster at home, if they play a fully fit squad, are going to be very, very difficult to beat. So my prediction for this game is unfortunately Leinster by 5, but as always, I want to hear your guys' predictions down in the comments. Next up, we got Sharks taking on Edinburgh. Now, Sharks finally picked up their second win of the season last week against Ulster, a 22-12 win at home, and it finally looked like the Sharks engine started going. John Smith described the Sharks this week as a Ferrari without an engine. It looks very good on the outside, but it doesn't work on the inside. Although last week it did seem to start working a little bit. Their forward dominance started to work with Ebenezebeth, Bongi Mbanambe. They've just got so many good players in that Sharks outfit, and once they click, they are going to be unstoppable. I do think a big reason for them getting more on the front foot was Sia Mazuku, the replacement for Cohen Bosch. He had a phenomenal season for the Cheetahs last year, and now he's coming to the Sharks. He's kind of not even been sitting on the bench, not even been injured, but just not playing for the Sharks the entire season, so it's good to see him starting. I do think he made the world of difference. Then for Edinburgh, they came up against the Stormers last week. It's a game I actually went to, and the Stormers absolutely ran them ragged. The Stormers probably should have scored 3 or 4 more tries. Yes, Edinburgh were resting their Six Nations players last week. Those Six Nations players will be back, so Edinburgh will get a little bit of a boost. Edinburgh currently sitting 6th now, so they'll want to end in that top 8, preferably for them in the top 4. Sharks sit 14th on the table. I'm not even sure if it's possible for them to get into the top 8, but they're going to try their best and try and win the remainder of their games. I think the Sharks need to build some momentum here. They've got another win now under the belt. Their big players played a big role in the game on Saturday, and I think they will want to secure another win here. Edinburgh are not going to make it easy for them. I think this is going to be a very, very tight game. I'm going to go Sharks by 3 points. Next up, we got the Ospreys taking on the Lions. Now, the Ospreys are coming off a 17-27 loss to Munster at home. They currently sit 11th, and they're very much in the mix to make the top 8. Now, the Lions are coming off a massive 38-14 win over Connacht away from home. Even more impressively is they played the majority of that game, I'm talking 65 minutes, with 14 men. They came into that game as massive underdogs. Connacht have been playing some good rugby. The Lions just seem to be gritty at the moment. Yes, on paper, their players aren't as good as the Bulls or the Stormers, but they're really clicking well, and they are just such a gritty team that grind it out and play for the badge on their chest. Now, the Lions currently sit 8th. They only 1 point off of the Stormers, who's sitting 5th. So the Lions are very much in the mix to maybe even get a home semi-final if they can keep winning. We know how good players are like Sanelo Nahamba for the Lions, and he is going to have to make a difference in this game if they are to beat the Ospreys away from home and get 2 back-to-back wins on the road, which would be absolutely massive for the Lions. This is another one that could go either way, but I do think the way the Lions are playing at the moment, the big win they came off last week, they can be gritty and they can get down and dirty and win this one. For me, I'm going to go Lions by 6 points. Then finally, we've got Stormers versus Ulster. Now, there's a couple of subplots in this game that I'll get to, but the Stormers coming off a very good 43-21 win over Edinburgh last week, where they ran them absolutely ragged. Similani making his debut for the Stormers, and he brought a spark to that Stormers backline, which is saying something, because that Stormers backline is very, very deadly. And now with Similane out wide, with all that pace, with all that skill, with all that agility, the Stormers backline looks absolutely insane. Stormers now sit 5th with eyes on top 4 for that home semi-final, which is definitely in reach for the Stormers. They're so difficult to beat at home. Ulster coming off that 22-12 loss against the Sharks. This will be a tougher task than the Sharks against the Stormers, especially in Cape Town. Ulster sits 7th. So if they lose here, they could slip out of the top 8. So it gets a little bit sticky for Ulster. That subplot that I was talking about was Malhoba and Stephen Kitsoff. They have been teammates for the past 14 years. And now Stephen Kitsoff will play his first game at Cape Town Stadium in an Ulster shirt, scrumming against France Malhoba. So that is going to be a very, very interesting battle. But besides that, I think Stormers are firm favorites here, and they really should get the job done. So I'm going to go Stormers by 10 points. So that's what I think. I think we're going to get 3 out of 4. Hopefully the Bulls surprise us and basically pull off a miracle by beating Leinster away from home for a second time. Please let me know what your predictions are down in the comments. If you haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And with that said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Peace.